Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoot, back with the International Draft Masters Season 3, Week number 10, and we're taking on the Confusion, coach of the Miami Heat Wave. He's having a tough season, but nonetheless, he has a terrifying squad, and he's a solid and very creative and innovative battler. So I'm going to ignore his record and know that I need to win my last two games for a playoff berth. Have to clinch playoffs with my last two wins. So definitely looking forward to that if we can come out with the W's. Anyways, if we come out with losses, there is a chance we can still make playoffs since we do have since we are sitting at what 5-4 right now is our record, I think. So hopefully we can go 6-4, maybe 7-4, or at worst 5-6. But hopefully 7-4. Hopefully we can win out with a decent differential and get within a top 5 seed, potentially top 3, 4, or 5. I know I can't make top 2 because they've been clinched. Anyways, like I mentioned, we're taking on the Confusion. He has Magearna, Infernape, Tornadus Therian, Superior, Middle Queen, Rotom Wash, Hoopa Unbound, Gothitelle, Mega Glalie, the Armaldo, Lickitung, the Sliggoo, and his Z-move users are Tornadus Therian, Armaldo, and Lickitung. And it should be noted that Magearna is banned from having Z-moves, hence why it's not a Z-move user. Still a threat though. Calm Mind, Shift Gear, Trick Room, Z-move, Assault Vest. Gonna be very annoying, whatever it may be. I could see like an Assault Vest Spit F variant to check Mega Diancie. I could see a Trick Room or a Shift Gear set to take advantage of my speed tiers, so on and so forth. Infernape's a huge threat too. Its versatility's off the charts outside of maybe things like Mew. It's probably one of the top 5 versatile Pokemon, period. It gets Taunt, Stealth Rock, Slack Off, Will-O-Wisp, Fire Blast, Flare Blitz, Close Combat, Focus Blast, so it has like really strong base attacks to spam for both fire and fighting type stab. So that's really nice. It has awesome coverage, Grass Knot, Thunder Punch, so on and so forth, and has a really nice typing. Tornadus Therian with Z moves is really threatening as well. And versus my team, it basically just picks up a kill. I think that it could potentially be running a Steel type coverage for Mega Diancie, potentially a Z move, or it could just be Flying EMZ with some I lost my train of thought. Lost my train of thought. Anyways, Superior is a huge threat too. It takes advantage of things like, well, not really versus my team, but it can take advantage of fat water types, fat ground types. I don't really have something on my team that it could take advantage of. I don't necessarily think so anyway. I guess it could set up on Primarina, especially with Leaf Storms or so on and so forth. I could be like an Assault Vest variant with like Moonblast or like a Choice Scarf variant though, so he doesn't know that. But yeah, nonetheless, it does scare out Primarina naturally. Middle Queen's an awesome Pokemon. It gets Toxic Spike, Stealth Rock, awesome typing with pretty cool stats. Well, not really like outstanding stats. It's like Clefable. Its typing and abilities make it really powerful. So that's really nice. Rotom Wash picks up some momentum to get threats in like Tornadus Therian, Hoopa Unbound, and Infernape. Speaking of Hoopa Unbound, it's a huge threat. Awesome wall breaker, one of the most powerful in the game. Gothitel's a nice trapper. Mega Glalie can clean up, can set up spikes, can just explode, go boom with nice ice type stab. That's really cool. Armaldo gets rapid spin, gets knockoff. Lickitung's like wish protect, much like Licky with some cool coverage. And Sliggoo is just a a low tier, low value Pokemon with some nice text. I don't really think it's viable in this matchup. However, I do expect his first 3 Pokemon to come: Magearna, Infernape, Tornadus Therian. I expect Nidoqueen to potentially be his Stealth Rocker and a Moonblast switch in. Could be like a Sugarberry variant. And then Hoopa Unbound's a really nice bring. And then like he could have a very bulky Gothitelle, which could trap and set up on my Mega Diancie. So I wanted to be wary of that. We have a pretty cool squad, and I guess we can go ahead and hop into that. I'm not actually going to. Yeah, we'll go ahead and hop in. Which is going to be a Choice Scarf variant with U-Turn, Earthquake, Stone Edge, and Punishment. We've got the U-Turn there for momentum, and Oko's the Hoopa Unbound does quite a bit to the Gothitelle, and the Superior always breaking the sub, which is nice, and gets momentum for things like Zeraora and Mega Diancie, which is really hot. Earthquake spam is really nice versus my opponent's team once Tornadus is gone, Superior is weakened, and Rotom Wash is gone. You can't really can't get enough of Earthquake spam. And then Stone Edge is there for the Tornadus Therian. Unless it's very bulky, then it always knocks out after Stealth Rocks, and it will knock out, well, not necessarily knock out, but it hits Rotom Wash for the most damage, and avoids like Rocky Helmet damage and so on and so forth. I do have Punishment on here, which is there for Gothitelle. So Gothitelle can trap and set up on something like Mega Diancie, or maybe, depending on his set, he could potentially set up on Necrozma or Decidueye. Very unlikely. Maybe even Zeraora, but it's very unlikely that he can set up on those. The biggest problem I see is him trapping him trapping my Mega Diancie with his Gothitelle and setting up on me, and then eliminating my Mega Diancie, and then he is, say he's +4 Calm Mind, special attack and special defense. I can always bring in my Landorus Therian and click Punishment and knock him out. Punishment is a dark type move that does damage based on how many stat changes you have, so that's really nice. And yeah, we can hop on, well, like I mentioned, late game, once certain ones are eliminated, Earthquake Spam is really nice. It bops the Magearna, the Infernape, the Nidoqueen, and like Hoopa doesn't need much damage for it to be in range of just one Earthquake after Stealth Rocks, and it's just generally nice to spam, especially after the rest of my team synergistically, beats down his team. Hopefully, But yeah, we can move on to Zeraora now. Next up, we have a Focus Sash Zeraora with Volt Absorb, obviously the only ability. Taunt is there to prevent Stealth Rocks from Nidoqueen. It can prevent Superior and Rotom Wash from defogging, and Tornadus Therian from defogging. It can prevent Infernape from setting up or setting up Stealth Rocks. It can prevent Magearna from setting up. So that's really nice. It can also prevent Gothitelle from setting up and using me as setup fodder, which it can't do that anyway because I have knockoff into Plasma Fish. Should knock it out. It's just a really nice tech there to have. We also have Endeavor. The idea is to use our Focus Sash. Basically, if we lead off versus Nidoqueen, we can click Taunt, and if he clicks Earth Power, we'll survive because of our Focus Sash, and then we can click Endeavor to bring him down as low as us. And if he has Sucker Punch, we will bypass that with Endeavor, so that's nice. And I can do that versus any one Pokemon. Magearna, Infernape. As long as he doesn't have a Choice Scarf user that can pick me off before I can click off the Endeavor, we should be fine in that regard. But yeah, that's just the general idea. We are sitting at enough speed to outspeed the Tornadus, and we can afford an Adamant Nature to do that, so that's really nice. It maximizes our attack. I think it sits it at 350, which is really nice. He doesn't really have a super solid electric resist outside of Nidoqueen being an immunity. He has Superior and the Sliggoo, which aren't too reliable to switch in on Zeraora over and over. So I do expect Nidoqueen to be the switch in. We do have knockoff to get rid of its item, and we can switch into Nidoqueen relatively easy with our next Pokemon. So our next Pokemon is Necrozma, and we have Stealth Rocks, Knockoff, Earthquake, and Morning Sun. Basically here to switch in on Nidoqueen repetitively over and over and over. Max Spadef, Max HP. We can take on Infernape in conjunction with our 2 Intimidate users. This thing can switch in on close combat pretty comfortably, as well as Landorus Therian, and our Infernape can switch in on Fire type moves, as well as Mega Diancie. So we should be able to pivot around Infernape well enough for this thing to be max def, max HP, and not really worry about our defense, thanks to our Intimidate users and our Pokemon that can revenge kill it, as long as it's not Choice Scarf. Anyways, Knockoff is there to get rid of items. It does well versus the Gothitelle, Hoopa Unbound, Serp, and the Magearna, since it can't run Z-moves. Infernape too, obviously it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it can get rid of something like a Life Orb or a Choice Scarf or a Choice Band or something like that. Earthquake hits the Magearna, and the Infernape hits the Infernape harder than Knockoff does, and hits the Nidoqueen pretty hard too, which is really nice, since I'm not packing Psychic coverage. And Morning Sun allows us to, recover up on things like Infernape, Nidoqueen, Magearna even, so that, we can take hits later on in the match. But yeah, it's going to be it for Necrozma, and we can move on to Incineroar. Alright, so here we are with Incineroar, which is a U-turn knockoff Fire Punch taunt variant. We are pretty specially defensive with an a brave nature, excuse me. we should, well, there's a possibility to outpace Magearna under Trick Room, and we have the Fire EMZ, so that if Magearna does set up a Trick Room and we're able to get in there, we can knock it out with one hit and avoid any kind of like mini sweep or super damage to my team. Knockoff, like I mentioned, gets rid of items. U-turn, same as on Landorus, can pull in the Zeraora, can bring in the Mega Diancie, two very potent offensive threats. Mega Diancie being one of the best wall breakers in the game. So it's really nice to be able to bring them in off of the U-turn, especially a very, very slow U-turn, where we can get an Intimidate off and then pivot out into something more appropriate for the match. It can, like I mentioned, it can take fire type attacks from Infernape if he's like a Life Orb Fire Blast variant, and Superior if it sets, goes for Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm into any kind of hidden power cannot knock me out, or Dragon Pulse, and Leaf Storm into Leaf Storm can never knock me out, even if he's like Choice Specs. So that's really nice. And it also switches in on Hoopa Unbound, and okay, so I've got a Psychic type, a Dark type, and a Ghost type. So he's got to decide what he wants to click, Psychic type, Ghost type, Psychic or a Dark type, or does he want to, predict my Incineroar to come in and be a middle ground switch on both Psychic and Dark and click a Fighting type attack. But then he's got my Ghost type and my Psychic to worry about switching in on something like Drain Punch or Focus Punch or something like that. So yeah, Incineroar is really nice in the matchup, and gives, between it and Landorus giving me double Intimidate, I should be pretty solid versus his physical attackers. And yeah, we can move on to Decidueye now. I can prevent the double with Spirit Shackle by trapping him. I can trap him, then U-turn out with a slow U-turn. I can also trap him and then roost up. So I can trap things like Rotom Wash and Serp, roost up on them since I can, take any of their hits, so on and so forth. Roost is really, really nice for longevity, and I can take hits from Nidoqueen, Serp, Magearna even. And we've got the Haze on there so that if Magearna sets up, a Shift Gear or like a Calm Mind or something like that, and we're able to come in without any damage, we can live any one hit and click Haze, remove its boost, and then, proceed from there. Hopefully be able to avoid being swept by that thing, and then just move on from that range. We are a little bit weak to Rotom with our build so far, so this also gives us a really solid switch into Rotom Wash, being able to resist both the electric Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, whatever, and the Hydro Pump. So that's super solid, especially since Mega Diancie will be our last Pokemon. We kind of do need a Hydro Pump switching. Speaking of Mega Diancie, let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. We have Mega Diancie, which is just a 2 attacks variant this week with Protect and Magnet Rise. We've got Magnet Rise so that we can, if Nidoqueen isn't Choice Scarf, we can always outpace it and click Magnet Rise to avoid the Earth Power. Sludge Wave will, do neutral damage, and then he's got like Ice Beam or Flamethrower, whatever his coverage may be. Obviously it won't be super effective, and we can potentially avoid damage from Nidoqueen, or like a lot of damage, and be able to 2-hit or 3-hit KO it depending on its investment. He doesn't have, outside of Magearna and Nidoqueen, he doesn't have a resistance to the Moonblast, so spamming Moonblast is really nice. I can always bring in Mega Diancie off of Landorus, Therian, Incineroar, or Decidueye's slow U-turns. Well, Landorus is a fast U-turn, but Incineroar and Decidueye give me slow U-turn into Mega Diancie. I can just click Moonblast, and then slowly wear down the Magearna and Nidoqueen to where everything's basically in range of either Moonblast or the following Earth Power afterwards. The only thing that outpaces this thing on his squad is the Superior and the Tornadus Therian, which my team deals with Superior pretty well, and I have Choice Scarf Landorus, which can always U-turn out until it's in range of Earthquake, and then Stone Edge for the Tornadus Therian. So I think my team composition works really well for Mega Diancie to just spam Moonblast and not have to worry about Tornadus Therian and Serp too much. It's more of like just not really trying to revenge kill a Tornadus Therian with my Mega Diancie, basically. I'll leave that up to Zeraora. But yeah, it's going to be the squad. He doesn't really, like I mentioned, he doesn't have a switch into this thing. It hits really hard. Magnet Rise is really nice. I have Protect there to scout for things, such as Tornadus Therian have a Steel type move. Nidoqueen setting up Stealth Rocks potentially versus my switch out, or hoping that I switch out. However, I can stay in, click Protect. If he goes for Rocks, I can stay in and click Magnet Rise, and then he can't even hit me with Earth Power, and potentially sets up Stealth Rocks on his side of the field for me. So all kinds of cool things Mega Diancie can do. But yeah, that's going to be it. We can hop into the replay, and we'll be right back. Alright, so here we go with the replay, and my opponent chooses to bring the Hoopa Unbound, Nidoqueen, Tornadus Therian, Infernape, Rotom Wash, and the Magearna. So no Superior, which is really nice for me. No Gothitelle, which is pretty cool. And then I guess the Armado, Lickitung, and the Sliggoo weren't really going to make an appearance in this matchup anyway. And no Mega Glalie, which I thought could come because I do have Landorus. But I did decide to bring a Choice Scarf in it, so it wasn't too big of an issue. But yeah, looking at this matchup, he does have two potential Stealth Rockers in Nidoqueen and Infernape. More likely the Nidoqueen, probably a Stealth Rock 3 attacks variant, or maybe even a Toxic Spike variant. I doubt it because we do have Mega Diancie, Magic Mounts, and a couple Defoggers, one being obviously my Landorus Therian, which is immune to Toxic Spikes. We also have Scizor, which is immune to that. He could be packing Flamethrower on Nidoqueen, Fire Punch on Hoopa Unbound, maybe Hidden Power Fire on Magearna even, Rotom Wash with Will-O-Wisp potentially. He has Volt Switch into Hoopa Unbound, which is really scary. Volt Turn even with 2 U-turners and 2 Volt Switchers in Tornadus Therian, Infernape, and Rotom Wash and Magearna respectively. So a pretty scary squad, no doubt, no doubt. What he would potentially lead with, I wasn't necessarily sure. I knew that I didn't want him getting his Stealth Rocks up though, and I knew that I probably couldn't knock him out with any one hit from Landorus Therian. And if it was a Sugar Berry variant, it would be even harder to knock him out if he led Nidoqueen. So I did want to lead off with my Zeraora to just taunt Nidoqueen if he led with it, or Infernape if that was his potential Stealth Rocker. However, he leads off with Tornadus Therian, which is an easy knockoff for us. We know he's not going to stay in and risk his Tornadus Therian, and we can just taunt him on the following turn. We get rid of his Black Sludge, or excuse me, his Berry. So like I mentioned, he could have been Sugar Berry, and yeah, we're just going to switch out after we taunt him into our our Necrozma, as he finally switches his Nidoqueen out into his Magearna, and then doubles out into his Tornadus as we went into Zeraora. Now that looked a little bit weird. Why did we go to Zeraora? We were Focus Sash, if you remember from the team builder, and had he went for an attack there with Magearna, or set up with Magearna, it could have been really scary, especially like I mentioned if he set up with Shift Gear or Calm Mind or something like that. So the reason I went into Zeraora was because we can live any one hit with our Focus Sash and click Endeavor and bring him down to 1% as well. So that would be really nice. Anyways, he goes out into his Nidoqueen on the Plasma Fist, and then we're going to be able to taunt him once again as he goes for Stealth Rock again. And we're going to go out into our Landorus, because if he clicks the Earth Power here, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. And he actually goes out into his Hoopa, so we get a free U-turn out as he's forced to go into his Rotom Wash, and now we get our Decidueye in. So this U-turn core of ours is doing really nice right now. It's able, allowing us to bring in Zeraora. It's allowed us to get our rocks up and potentially bring in Mega Diancie later on. So that's really nice so far. Here we've got our Decidueye in, so he should either switch out or Volt Switch, but he decides to go for the Will-O-Wisp Had I been like a fast variant or something like that, that could have been really bad for him. However, this is a roll, and we have to go for it. We don't have another play, and he's able to crit us and knock us out. So a little bit unfortunate there, but it is what it is. We can go into landers and revenge kill it. Unfortunately, I would have much rather have gotten the roll with Rotom Wash, and I felt like he shouldn't necessarily risk his Rotom Wash. I felt maybe he should have went hard into his Nidoqueen or his Magearna. Regardless, though, we do pretty much double down there. However, his Rocky Helmet's taking his toll on my Landers. So I bring in Necrozma to avoid him coming in with the Nidoqueen. I don't want that to come in. So we're going to hard switch into our Decidueye. As he actually goes for the Drain Punch, predicting our Incineroar, which was a fine play. I felt like Incineroar was the perfect middle ground play. Like there was no drawback going Incineroar because Intimidate would have lowered Hoopa's attack. Drain Punch would not have knocked me out. And then the following turn I could have went into Decidueye. But I don't need Decidueye in the match at this point. I am max Spadef, but I don't do anything. It was there for the Rotom Wash. And unfortunately Rotom was able to Will-O-Wisp me before I could do any kind of damage. And it was Rocky Helmet, so maybe I should have Spirit Shackled it and then you turned out to get a little bit more chip damage on it, and then knocked it out with the Mega Diancie. But yeah, I did not do that. So it is what it is. I'm just going to click U-turn here as he brings in his Nidoqueen. Allows me to go out into my Landers. I have clicked U-turn the majority of the match, so I'm just going to click Earthquake here. I've already gotten rid of his berry, so no big deal there. He does bring in the Tornadus, assuming that I'm Choice Scarf, and I'm just going to sack off my Decidueye here. I tried to earlier, and I was blessed and able to keep it, so I'm going to be able to sack it off here, bring in my Zeraora, and throw off another Plasma Fist. He's forced to sack him on at this point, and he decides to sack off his Hoopa. He brings in his Infernape, and it's a roll here if I can knock him out or not if he's got no bulk. So I'm just going to switch out to my Necrozma. I am max Spadef, max HP. So yeah, I can take this Morning Sun up as he U-turns out, or if he hard switched it would have been better. But yeah, he just U-turns out and brings in the Magearna. So at this point I'm forced to just click Earthquake. I don't want any kind of weird shenanigans to happen. Forced to click Earthquake, and if he doesn't go for another Shift Gear, I should outspeed with Landers Therian anyway. But it looks like I'm going to be able to 3-hit KO him before he's able to knock me out, and we're going to be able to knock him out here with the Earthquake. And my opponent is actually going to forfeit the match here, and I suppose Infernape could potentially knock us out here with a high roll, and I don't think Earthquake would necessarily knock him out. So I do think he would have knocked out Necrozma there, and I would have brought in my Zeraora to revenge kill the Infernape and then knock out the Tornadus Therian as well. So in my mind, this is more of a 3-0 with Zeraora picking up 3 kills, which is really nice. Anyways, yeah, that's going to be a good game. Good game to the confusion. Good luck the rest of the season, my man. I know it's going to be tough to make playoffs if it's even mathematically possible at this point. But yeah, very, very creative battler, and yeah, I just felt like all the plays went my way this battle. I was able to taunt Nidoqueen every turn. I was able to click U-turn on the right plays. I was able to click Earthquake on the Nidoqueen even when you had a flying type in the back and get that play right. I was able to sack off the Decidueye twice because the first time I was blessed because it didn't die. It was just making the right plays at the right time. But yeah, that's going to be it. Let me know what you thought about the prep and the plays on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.